In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Mr. Leica, aka the name I called myself, Matt Osborne, selling his Leica equipment, and I'll explain why. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So yes, today probably not a popular topic, so please no haters, and I will explain my reasoning. So yes, today we're going to be talking about me selling my Leica kit, and I've been buying Leica equipment since 2013 when I founded the MrLeica.com blog. Year on year, I've bit by bit been buying quite a few cameras and lenses as I had the money to do so. Film cameras, digital cameras and lenses. Now don't worry, it's not all bad. In today's video we're talking about me selling my Leica lenses, but not all of my Leica lenses. I'll give you 5 examples of Leica lenses which I've replaced with, dare I say, better lenses. Now, before you shoot me down, I will explain with each lens what I mean, so let's get into it. So I'll go in focal length order, and it might also be roughly in time order, maybe not. So the first lens I'm talking about is the Leica Summicron 28mm f2 version 1, the spherical version 1, not the latest one, the one before. I think it's version 1. I bought that lens for wedding photography, my Leica weddings, so I bought the 28 f2 to give me a faster alternative to my 28 2.8 Elmrit, which is a lens I still have because it's a nice small lens. And I replaced the f2 Summicron with the version 2 Voigtlander Ultron 28 f2. When I did side-by-side testing, the Ultron outperformed the older Summicron. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. Have less money tied up in kit and get a better performing lens. So I sold the Leica, bought a brand new Voigtlander and kept the difference. Next, I had the Leica Summicron 50mm f2 version 5 lens. It's a nice small lens, but I didn't find I really used it. So I sold it because I was using the Summilux instead anyway. And then later ended up buying the Voigtlander 50 f2 Apo. So I've literally replaced the 50 f2 with the 50 f2. The Voigtlander 50 f2 Apo, if you saw my latest video comparing it to sharp macro lenses, is just fantastic. If you need one sharp, do everything lens, the 50 f2 Voigtlander Apo is the one to get. I've even done a video comparing it to the Leica SL Apo lens, and I'm sure some of you may have said you could see a difference, but to my eyes the difference was so minimal and the size difference was so huge that for me the Voigtlander was the clear winner. Next, the Leica Summicron 75mm f2 Apo. As a model portrait photographer, I thought the 75mm focal length would be really good for portraits, and it is a really sharp lens, and actually struggled to hit focus when going really close at like minimum focus distance on an M camera, partly because of calibration issues, and I've mentioned that in other videos. And that was all great and I was happy. And then Voigtlander brought out the Voigtlander Nocturne 75mm f1.5. This lens is cheaper, this lens is almost a stop faster, and it produces more pleasing images shot wide open when trying to do female portraits and the type of work that I do. So shallow depth of field with really nice subject background separation, enough sharpness and decent contrast. So sold the Leica Summicron 75mm, bought the Voigtlander Nocturne 75 1.5. I must point out, this video is definitely not sponsored by Voigtlander. I'm just sharing my journey with my photography and thought you might find it useful if you want to have less money tied up in your photography equipment, or if you're on the fence thinking that you need Leica lenses to get the best performance, where potentially you could get nice photos from other lenses as well. Lens number 4. I was very happy for a number of years and raved about it in both video and blog format. The Leica Macro Elmar 90mm f4 M lens. This is a really tiny collapsible 90mm lens, which is pretty much the same size as a 50mm Summicron when collapsed. And so it's the perfect kind of travel lens or lens if you want a really small setup, and it gave you the, I believe, highest magnification ratio of any M mount lens without any like special adapters. So again, for say headshots for my portraits, the 90mm became better in terms of getting closer than my 75mm when you combine length times minimum focus distance, if you can follow all this. So I love the lens, I was happy. It was an expensive lens, The Leica lenses are not cheap, as you probably know. And then again, it happened. Voigtlander brought out the Voigtlander Apo Scopar 90mm f2.8. You can see where I'm going with this. The lens was one stop faster. The lens was a lot cheaper. And again, the image resolution was just amazing. I just could not ask for any more quality from a lens. So sold the lens, kept the money difference, and got the Voigtlander equivalent. So let's recap. I've replaced my 28mm Summicron with the Voigtlander Ultron. I replaced my 50mm Summicron with the 50mm Apo. I replaced the 75mm Summicron with the 75mm Nocturne, and I replaced the 90mm Macro Elmar with the 90mm Apo. So 4 Leica lenses gone, 4 Voigtlander lenses in. And then for completeness, if you're a 35mm shooter, I've not actually done this, but I'll explain that I would have done this if I owned the lens. I did a test of the Leica Summicron 35mm f2 end-mount lens against the Voigtlander Ultron 35 f2 lens. To my amazement, the Voigtlander Ultron again beat the Summicron. So if I'd owned the 35mm Summicron, which I didn't, but if I did, I would have also replaced that with another Ultron lens. So that would have been 5 Leica lenses gone, 5 Voigtlander lenses in. Now it's not all clear cut, and now I need to explain the reasoning and the small details. So number one, when I'm looking at image performance, I'm mainly looking at shooting black and white. So if there's any lenses with chromatic aberration issues, that's not an issue for me because I'm shooting black and white. Point number one. Point number two, I'm a portrait photographer, model photographer, and also do wedding photography. So for me, the center sharpness is important, and I'm less interested in the edge sharpness. So as long as the lens is really decent and sharp, hopefully wide open in the center, I don't care too much about the edges. Leica lenses tend to be good at the edges, as well as being obviously pretty good in the center, but you're going to pay a premium for the Leica brand. Point number three, I'm buying lenses to use now for photos I want to take now, and I'm looking at it in a very short-term ism mindset. I need to take cash out of my cameras and lenses because at some point I need to buy a house. I still don't own a house. I just have cameras and lenses. If you want to buy lenses to hold their value, Leica lenses are still king. All the lenses that I sold, I think I sold for the same price as I bought them, even though I used them and held them for potentially 5 years. So number one, Leica lenses are amazing for the investment potential if you don't mind having money tied up in cameras and lenses. Lenses are better than cameras because lenses tend to go slightly up in value, where Leica cameras are going to depreciate. Obviously the digital cameras, Leica film cameras again, generally slightly go up in value. So that's one good reason for buying Leica equipment. I think most people presume that Leica lenses are built better than every other lens, and that's why we pay the higher price tag. Leica lenses can get problems the same as non-Leica lenses. So my expensive Leica Summilux 50 1.4 has got oil on the aperture blades, so now I need to get that cleaned before the residue goes onto the back of the glass and starts to cause optical problems. So what about Voigtlander lenses? Are they the best lenses ever made? Well, actually no, as you probably may be aware already. With the new Voigtlander lenses made by Casino Voigtlander, you nearly almost always see a piece of dust inside the lens within a week or up to like a year. In contrast, I almost never see dust in my Leica lenses, so that's ticking the box to Leica. Number two, I don't think I've ever really seen true corrosion on Leica lenses, like modern Leica lenses, whereas I've got Voigtlander lenses which are less than a year old, and they've got that, like, I think it's aluminium corrosion, where you get like greeny blue growths on the bit of the chrome, and this is like an Ultron lens less than a year old. So again, ticking the box, Leica better than Voigtlander. Point number three, the price. Generally speaking, you're going to lose money on non-Leica lenses compared to Leica lenses. All this that I've said about Voigtlander lenses is also true for Zeiss, so the Zeiss ZM glass. Again, some of those lenses are optically fantastic. I love the 21 Biogon. I've got the 25mm Biogon. But again, Zeiss lenses don't have the price as well as Leica lenses and are more similar to Voigtlander. And also they have the same problems with, on one of my lenses, the lube's dried up, so it needs a total rebuild. It was only a few years old when it happened, so I've never had quite that level of problems with Leica lenses. So in conclusion, Leica lenses, yes, you probably get what you pay for, and as a long-term investment, Leica glass is better. I'm 45 years old, and at some point I need to buy somewhere to live, so this is my biggest reason for selling some of my Leica equipment, to get some cost out of the cameras to buy a roof to go over my head. If you've got any similar stories with your lenses, let us know in the comments below, and as always, a huge thanks to my patrons.